absolutely not a sacrifice for me. I feel it's a privilege to be able to share the information that is sitting in this head of mine with whoever I can. I specifically started the Enterprise Development Property Fund for that very reason, to share information as far and wide as I possibly can, to help grow South Africa from a development perspective, and to allow anybody who's interested and wants to know about property to allow them access so that they can learn all about property investment, not just a place to live in, but a place to actually invest in and earn income, specifically passive income, hopefully one day, using it as a retirement opportunity, so that when you do retire, that instead of having a pension fund or in conjunction with having a pension fund, you also have these properties that you actually are generating income from. Ndumiso, are you going to admit to people that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, because I've been at it, so yeah, if you can just do that, that's great. Okay, so a little bit about myself. I don't want to talk too much about myself because I want to get to the topic at hand. I've got now just over 18, maybe 19 years experience in the property sector. And as Ndumiso said correctly, I don't even know 20% of what's out there to know about property. There are people who know a lot more than I do. People who have forgotten the things that I'm still learning. And I think probably it will be the same for you guys, that a lot of the stuff that I've forgotten already that you're still learning. And that's the way it goes. People learn things over their lifetime and they forget them. So as you're learning, I'm forgetting, losing my mind already. There's too much information in this brain of mine. But I think, I just want to share about property. I want to let everybody know about property investment and so on. So this incubator that you see behind me, this is my incubator in Pinelands in Cape Town. We are now fortunate enough to be sponsored by Old Mutual. You can see the banner there behind me. MTN has also come on board, and a couple of other corporates have supported the program over the last couple of years. So I've been in property, like I said, 18, maybe 19 years now. I've been in the corporate sector for a number of years. I've been in 2 listed property funds, where my last job, I managed a portfolio of close on 20 billion Rand. I was the senior asset manager at the Rebosis Group, and I was also the director of operations at Billion Group. So the experience there was both from a development perspective, where we built shopping centers in the Eastern Cape, more specifically, and then also in the management side, where we managed portfolios of property, like I said, close to 20 billion Rand. So my experience ranges from residential to student accommodation to government facilities, to retail shopping centers, and to normal just office blocks and industrial. Specifically just building curriculum. And then from 2018 onwards, I took on candidates in Cape Town and in Joburg. At that time, we didn't have this facility. This facility only started up this year. So for the first 2 years, we were teaching at other people's venues. And we're very generous organizations like Attack, the Urban Housing Foundation, which is now Tough. We went to places like Rhino Africa and Oricon to go and teach. They very generously gave us their space. But today we have our own facility here in Cape Town, and hopefully by next year we'll have one in Joburg. And then by 2025, we want to have a facility like this in every single province in South Africa. So that's the growth path that we have for the organization. But ultimately, it's all about educating new property entrepreneurs who want to get involved in the sector, who don't know much about the sector, who don't know how to raise money, don't know how to structure their businesses, don't know how to structure their tax, and a whole range of other things. We teach 14 different disciplines. We teach about energy management, we teach about water management, facilities management, asset management, property management. We teach about occupational health and safety, and a whole host of other things. Come January, we're also starting our real estate academy, where we will teach people who want to become real estate agents. So we've structured a deal with a real estate agent training facility, and we've registered our own real estate agency called EDPF Realtors, so that we can do internships as well. So if people want to become real estate agents as of January, they can also come through the academy. This academy specifically was designed to teach people about property investment. Ultimately, the bottom line is that we want you as an investor to buy property. So at the end of year 3, you must have been able to purchase your first property and have your first title deed. So that's really, for me, the bottom line is to make sure that people are able to invest in property. So I can teach you all sorts of things. We can give you all sorts of certificates, because many of our courses are certificated, CETA accredited and so on. But at the end of the day, those certificates to me are meaningless. What I want to teach you as an investor is how to invest in property. That's the bottom line. So having said all of that, and speaking way too much about myself and the organization, I think let me launch into the actual, what I want to talk about today. So I'm going to share a screen, and I hope you can all see that. And Dumisu, can you guys see that?
Yes, we can.
Changing the landscape. All right, okay. So that's ultimately what the organization is about. I'm going to cut my video feed now, so that I don't take up too much bandwidth and you don't lose me. Stop my video. There we go. All right. So that's what our organization is about, changing the landscape of South Africa. We've extended that a little bit to say changing the landscape of property ownership patterns in South Africa. That's ultimately what it's about. So let me just jump to the next screen. When we talk about property, the first thing that I want you to think about is, what is your why? I want you to think very carefully and very hard about what the why of your investment is. The reason I want you to think about that is because if you don't know why you are doing something, whether it be property investment, whether it be anything else, whether it be getting married, whether it be going into a job, whether it be starting a new business, whatever that thing is you want to do, you always have to consider why. And the reason why you have to do that is because once you know your why, then that is your motivation to carry on. At the end of the day, when things start getting tough, when people start saying to you, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're doing, you are going down the garden path and you don't actually it is the thing that drives you, the why, that drives you to keep going, that drives you to, at the end of the day, be successful. So think about your why. Some people will say, my why is because I want to build a legacy. That's a very popular thing in the property sector, where the property investment sector and all these sort of webinars and events that we go to. So organizations like Ekasi, like SAP, and like Epic, where we go to all these events, we learn about property when we go to these places, and they talk about legacy. They talk about building a legacy. What does that mean? You need to understand that. What does building a legacy mean? It means that you're leaving something so that people will remember you. Now, specifically when you invest in property, that would most likely be that you're building a property portfolio to generate income for a long term so that your family, your children, your wife will be secure after you are gone. That's what building a legacy is all about. So that is, in the main, most people would say that is my why, because I want to build a legacy and to allow my family to have something to live from, to have a property portfolio that is going to keep me going, that is going to keep my family going, that there's a constant income. Other people will say, because I want to be wealthy, because I want to make money. Now, if that is your driving force, I don't stand next to you, because for me, property isn't about the money, but for some people it is. And if that is your driving force, then great for you. You go and you push the boundaries and try and make the money because that's what you want. And that is your why. As long as you have that motivational force that is behind you building your portfolio. For other people, it can be just for the satisfaction of having an investment portfolio, because that's always something you wanted to do. But whatever your why is, always make sure that you have one. Make sure that you know why you are doing this and why you are investing in property, because that will be the thing that keeps you motivated, that will wake you up in the morning, that will keep you up at night, that'll drive you, that'll push you, even when things are going tough, when people are speaking out against you, when they start insulting you on social media, they say you're an idiot, and they call you all sorts of names. The why is what will drive you and push you to make sure that your property portfolio becomes a success. So that's a make sure that you have is a why. Then the next thing is why property. So I always tell the story to my students and anybody that will listen. A number of years ago, I think it was about 2006, if my memory serves me, I was still working at an organization, and I had a retirement annuity. This retirement annuity, I put in obviously a certain amount of money from my salary every month. And if you know about what retirement annuities are all about, it's like a pension fund, but you can't take the money out at all until you're at least 55. Then only at the age of 55 can you take the money out. With pension funds, you can take the money out, but you have to pay a penalty and you have to pay tax. Whereas with the retirement annuity, you can't take the money out. And that was my big mistake. So I put the money into this retirement annuity. I won't say which company it's with. But a few years ago, about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I got my first statement from this company of this retirement annuity. So in 2006, I stopped paying into the retirement annuity. I decided that I rather want to do other things with my money, put it into a pension fund, and I put some other money into some investments and so on. So this money is sitting in this account, and it's 114,000 Rand. At the time, it was a lot of money. If you think about 114,000 Rand today, 14 years later, that's probably worth about 500,000-600,000 Rand in today's terms. But it was 114,000 Rand at the time. So because I couldn't take the money out, I left it there, and the company that manages the money, they invest the money in different portfolios and so on and so forth. I still remember it was February that year. I think it was 2018. Yes, February 2018, I get the statement. So now it's 12 years later. And the statement says, in fact, the email said, congratulations on your achievement, on your investment. It has grown quite well. So I look at the statement, and the statement statement says that it is 14,000 to 125,000. That is 11,000 Rand over 12 years. That is less than 1% per annum. Now, if you take into account inflation at, let's say, an average 6% per year, my money reduced by 5% per year. The value of my money reduced by 5% net every year, comparatively to the investment that I had. Now, if I put that money into a property portfolio, and even if I had just bought 1 or 2 properties at the time, if I had taken that 114,000 and bought 14,000 rands worth of clothing and shoes and be left with 100,000, I could then go to the bank and ask them for a bond of 900,000 Rand, making my cash available 1 million Rand. I could then invest in 1 or 2 properties. By now, knowing myself, having been able to pay every year, pay extra onto the bond, by now, 14 years later, that bond would have been paid up. To 20,000 rands worth of rental income, which in itself per month is already more than all the money I earned from the day of this investment till today. Per month, I would have been receiving more money in all the money I received from the day that I started this investment until today. Every single month. 15 to 20,000 Rand is what I would have been receiving today, and I would have been bond free. More than that, the value of the property would have doubled, if not tripled. So let's say it doubled. I would have then have had an investment, not of 125,000 Rand, but I would have had an investment of 2 million Rand, which is the property, 1 or 2 properties. And I would have had all this cash flow every single month of 15 to 20,000 Rand. Again, reiterating the fact that it's more in 1 month than than all the money I earned in this investment over the last 14 years. So that's the power of property investment and the answer to the question, why property? Because if you invest in property, you will see a much better return, not just on the cash, but also on the value of your investment. Okay. So now that we've spoken about that, so if you're a first-time investor, and I'm talking like this as if you're a first-time investor, because I do not know where you guys are at with regard to your journey. So for those who are already investors, for those who are already making money, bear with us a little bit. Maybe you learn something new that you didn't know before. Maybe you will learn something that you maybe have forgotten, and you'll just refresh your memory. So if you are an investor, bear with us a little bit. We'll get into more of the nitty-gritty at a later stage. We do have 5 weeks together, so we're going to start with the basics and then go into the more in-depth things as we go along. We're going to learn a lot over this 5 weeks, and hopefully I would have been able to teach even the seasoned investors 1 or 2 new things. Okay, so if you're a first-time investor, a couple of things. You need to know what you're getting yourself into. You need to understand the risks. You need to understand the pitfalls. You need to understand the kind of investments that you're going to go into. You need to understand what you're getting yourself into. The good thing that you're getting yourself into is a portfolio that will bring you more returns than most other investments. The good thing that you're getting yourself into is that you're investing into something that is more secure than most other investments. The good thing that you're getting yourself into is that your growth on your the capital base that you're putting in is much bigger than most other investments. The good thing that you're getting yourself into is that you're getting a consistent income from your rental. The bad thing is the risk of losing your tenant. The bad thing is of the risk of the markets turning against you and not being able to get enough money in to pay your bond. The bad thing, if something massive happens and you haven't insured yourself properly, that you have to then put money into the building because you didn't insure yourself properly. The bad thing is that if you don't maintain your property well, then your property could become dilapidated and you may never get a tenant again. However, the good thing again is that if you maintain your property and you look after your tenant, you will have a happy tenant for a very, very long time. And your income, and the great thing is that your income almost always grows more than your bond that you have to pay. Your bond, if your bond rate remains constant, your bond then will remain constant every single month, year on year. But your rental income will increase every single year by the escalation that you put into your lease. So therefore, the gap between your rental income and your bond that you have to pay and other expenses, that gap increases every single year. And if you are clever, you will put that money, that difference, back into the bond to reduce the bond as quickly as you can. On the other hand, what you can do is build up an additional cash base where you can take that money that you're making, that difference, put it into an additional cash investment, and then take the money out when it's big enough to go and invest in a new property, put another deposit down on another property, and build your property portfolio that way. The other opportunity is to reduce your bond, and then at some later stage, take the difference between what your bond value is and what your property is worth, take that out in cash, leverage it, and then build your property portfolio that way, by then taking that extra money in order to buy your next property. So you can see there are lots of ways that you can utilize your property in order to grow your portfolio. But you need to know what you're getting yourself into. That's the first thing. The second thing, consider yourself a business owner, not somebody who is just buying a property to live in. Because buying a property to live in is more about your personal satisfaction, being able to live in a place that you can feel proud of, that you can call your home, that you can rest your head, that you can have your family, etc., etc. This is not about that. This is about investment. This is about a portfolio where you can generate an income. And if you want to build a property investment portfolio, don't consider yourself a homeowner, consider yourself a business owner. Because once you consider yourself a business owner, you look at that property investment more as a transaction rather than something to hold on to as a something aesthetically pleasing, something that you are emotional about. One of the most valuable lessons I learned in corporate is my previous boss said this to me, because there was one building in our portfolio that I was strategically involved in building, and I was very emotionally attached to this building. And he was about to sell the building, and I got very upset about it because I was so attached to this building. And he said to me, Nigel, never ever become emotionally attached to a building. You're a business owner. You are not a homeowner. Even though this was a corporate, it was a office block. It wasn't a house. It was an office block. We bought that building for 30 million Rand. We spent about 60 million Rand revamping the building. And when we sold it for 124 million Rand. So you can see the reason why he sold it is because he made a third or 30 odd % more on the building than what he had put in. So if it was my building and I was so emotional about it, I would never sell it and we'd lose out on that profit margin. So consider yourself a business owner, because if you consider yourself a business owner, you will not be emotional about buildings. All right, we're running out of time, so I'm going to try and get through a couple more things before I talk about our platform. Okay, the next thing is make sure you understand the costs. There are a couple of things that you need to understand when you buy a property is the cost of purchasing a property. You as the buyer pay all the legal costs. You pay the transfer duties and a whole host of other costs that you have to pay. You need to understand all that costs when you buy. So like when you calculate your return, make sure that your return on your investment is calculated against the total cost, not just the cost of the purchase price. So the seller will say he wants R1 million, but you need to pay the transfer duty if it's over R1 million, because the receiver of revenue allows you to buy a property and not pay transfer duty for any property under R1 million. But anything over R1 million, You need to pay transfer duty on to the taxman. You need to pay all the legal costs. You need to pay the bond costs, the transfer costs, and a whole host of other costs. So be careful that you understand the cost when you buy the property. And in most cases, the bank will not give you that money. You need to come up with the cash. You need to come up with the cash for the bond costs, all the legal costs, the transfer costs, etc., the transfer duty, and you need to put in most likely a deposit. The bank in most cases will not allow you to purchase a property and give you 100% bond. They will most likely tell you that you need to put some money in as a deposit. So you need to know what those costs, upfront costs are, and you need to have that cash available. Then you need to understand the cost of maintenance of the property. So there may be levies if you're in a body corporate. There obviously will be municipal costs, your electricity, your water, your sewage, your rates and taxes and so on, and a whole host of other costs that you possibly will have to pay. Understand those costs. The most important one is the maintenance, because if you do not maintain your property, I guarantee you're going to lose your tenant. Okay, next one is location. Always make sure that when you buy a property, that you buy in a location that is sellable. You always have to have an exit strategy. So that exit strategy is mainly focused on your location. You must know that when you purchase a property it's in a sought after location. Know that that property, if it's a family property, that you then in an area where there are schools, shopping centers, etc., amenities that a family would want. If it's a student accommodation, don't buy a student accommodation that's 10 kilometers away from the university. When you buy student accommodation, make sure it's close to the university. Make sure that that location is in demand for the type of property that it is. We'll talk a bit more about that at a later stage in this course. Okay, then you need to understand the market. Understand what the market demands are. So for example, like I just said, you can't buy a student accommodation that's 10 kilometers away from university because students want to be close to the university. So you need to understand the market forces. You need to understand the demand of the market that you're going to service. If you're going to buy retail space, make sure that there's actually people living in that community where you're going to build that shopping center. Don't build a shopping center where you're going to put a Woolies in if the people that are around you shop at ShopRite. So when you build a retail shopping center, for example, you need to understand the market around you and know which tenants you need to put in there to service the market that's around you. All right, we'll talk more about that at a later stage. Then understand your tenants. Understand what their needs are. If it's a residential property, understand what type of tenant you want to put in there. If it's a residential property and it's a family, you can't sell them a bachelor flat. If it's a students that you want to bring in, you can't sell them or let to them a property that's meant for a family. You need to then have single rooms but shared accommodation in terms of the lounge areas, the dining areas, the study halls, the kitchen facilities need to be more geared towards students than towards a family. So understand the tenants you want in your property. All right, be prepared to get your hands dirty. This is very important because if you're not prepared to get your hands dirty and you expect other people to do the work, one of two things are going to happen. Either your property is going to become dilapidated because you're not maintaining it properly, or your property is, you're not going to be able to get the rental income in, etc. Or on the other hand, if you allow somebody else to manage the property on your behalf, it's going to cost you. So you need to balance that out and say, okay, I'm not prepared to get my hands dirty, but I am prepared to pay that cost for somebody else to manage my portfolio. All right, then finding the potential where others see problems. Now, this is a key aspect for property investment. You cannot, you will make more money when you see investment opportunities where other people see problems. So there's a old sort of investment thing that people use, and they say, buy the worst property on the best street. So you look at the property in a really good street, in a really good neighborhood, that is the worst property in that street, in that neighborhood. Why? Because if you do that, then you have the potential to get that property for cheap. You have the potential to be able to then develop that property, and when you sell it, make more money. And because people always say, make money when you buy. Don't make money when you sell. Make money when you buy. And what that means is, when you buy the property, you see the potential of that property, and you then are able to buy that property at a cheaper rate than you would have if that property was in a good state. So if you buy the worst property on the street, you may be able to pick it up for 500,000, where the better property would normally cost you maybe 750 to $1 million. You then spend a bit of money on painting it, on fixing it up a little bit, and especially if you are willing to get your hands dirty, you can hopefully then make some good money. So find the potential in a property where others see problems, you see the potential. Then know your strategy. We'll talk a lot about strategy in the next session, but know your strategy. Don't go and be too diversified in your strategy. If you want to do student accommodation, do student accommodation. If you want to buy rent, do rent to buy, do rent to buy. If you want to do buy to lets, do buy to lets. But know the strategy that you want to go through, and then focus on that strategy. Don't become too diversified. Yes, you must be diversified, but not too diversified. You need to be able to focus. You need to be able to choose a strategy and then build on that strategy. That's how you're going to make the most money in property investment. Okay, couple of other things. You need to have patience. If you don't have patience, you are never going to be successful in this property industry. Patience is the key to building a great property portfolio. And the reason for that, I always say, guys, don't get into the flip business, because you're going to lose your shirt if you don't know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing and you've got a great mentor and you find the right properties, yes, okay, great stuff. I personally do not advocate flipping deals. I advocate long-term investment. That's what property is all about. It's about long-term investment. If you have the patience to build a property portfolio, not only will you be able to make a lot of money on your rental income, your cash flow will be good, you will also grow a great property portfolio, and the value of your property portfolio will grow constantly. Okay, so having spoken about patience, I am now going to stop right here, because we have now run out of time. But I do want to chat with you a little bit about the EDPF platform. So before I open up, or Ndumiso opens up for questions, I just quickly want to go through the platform that we have built and the partnership that we have with Ekasi. Okay, so EDPF during COVID got to a place where we needed to find a way to continue to educate, because we couldn't teach people in a space like this. When we were in lockdown level 5, we then took all of our training online. We did videos, we cut a whole lot of videos, we did all the course material, and even the assessments we took online, all our exams, everything we took online. So now you can watch all the videos, you can do all of our training, or look at all of our course material, and you can do all the assessments, everything online. Then we decided to take it even further, and we recently did a deal with MTN, the telecommunications company. And what we did, we got them to give us, well, not give us, but did a deal where they give us these tablets, 8-inch tablets, that we load our platform on, and through that platform, you will be able to access all of our training and all of our financial stuff. So let me just quickly go through it. So I'm going to share another screen quickly. All right. Okay, so what we've done with this platform is that when you get your tablet, if you sign up through Ekasi or directly to EDPF, but I would prefer for Ekasi members to sign up through Ekasi because the cost is exactly the same. We are not going to charge more if you are an Ekasi member than we would charge if you came straight to EDPF. That's the collaboration with us and Ekasi. You'll pay exactly the same amount of money. So when you get your tablet, this is the screen you're going to see when you switch it on. If you are not registered and if you do not have a login, you cannot access the tablet. So if your tablet gets stolen, they can't use your tablet because they need the access, your password, your login and your password. Once you receive it, you put in your login details, and then the next page you will see, let me just, there we go. The next page you will see is your registration page. This page you will only see once. You will register on the platform. You will put in, you'll see there, there's an affiliate on the right bottom corner there. You'll put in Ekasi, and then you'll put in your Ekasi affiliation identification number, which Ndumisu will give you. Once you have submitted that, you'll never see the screen again. Once you're registered, and that's it. Every time you log in, this is the screen you will then see. There's a couple of things missing here that I didn't want to put on here yet until we are ready to go. But basically, you'll have access to all of these things. You'll have access to our classrooms. You'll have access to your candidate diary. You'll have access to online mentorship, property conversations. You can book a consultation. You get one free consultation a month of an hour. You can click onto the Raising Capital page. You can click onto our support page. And what all of these things do, let me just quickly show you. Just give me a minute so I can go to our, just give me a second here, sorry for this. So I can show you what you will find inside of our platform. Okay, Ndumisu, can you see that? Okay, great stuff. Okay, so I'm going to cut my video feed again because this takes up some bandwidth. Okay, so once you're in and you click on Classroom, you will be able to access all the videos. So there's starting your own property portfolio. There's how the economy works, perfect wealth structure, 3 reasons why property has created the most millionaires. There's a UCT link that we have a collaboration with UCT to learn all about financial literacy. There's a property management link, training there, due diligence training. There's other financial literacy basics, feasibility training. There's legal aspects of property, modules 1 through 6, commercial property development and investment, and a whole host of other things. Then you can go to the assignments and exams. Those assignments and exams will be opened up once a month, where you can then go and write your exam. You cannot go to module 2 if you haven't passed module 1. And that's what that assignments page is all about. Property investment basics. So this is the course that I'm currently doing with you. Property investment fundamentals. This is the first course. Property investment module 2 and 3 and so on and so forth. Then there's property management. You'll be able to get property management training. David Beatty does all of that training for us, and you'll be able to access that. And there's a whole range of other things. There's our training resources. So you'll be able to get all of our training resources. It's all PDF downloads. You'll be able to go to our training material. Again, all PDF downloads. You'll be able to go to property conversations. And we're constantly recording property conversations with specialists like TJ of M5 Property Addicts, with Andrew at Sappin, with Grant at Epic, and so on and so forth. There's some epic conversations, and then there's my 50-day challenge, which gives you the videos about how to raise capital, how to structure your business, and the 50-day challenge that I've set myself in buying 50 properties in 50 days with under 50 million Rand while I'm still 50. Okay, then here's the very exciting part. In this page, you will be able to access every single bit of financing that you want. So there's the capital raising, there's the legal structure, there's my 50-day logs or vlogs, video logs. There's our support base, our crowdfunding platform, which is coming very, very soon, our stokvels, and then there's bridging finance. So you can go to these 4 companies that we have a partnership with to get bridging finance. There's development and other finance. There's rent to buy, HIP housing, TUF, Bidprop, Lulaland, PIC, Isibaya Fund, the PIC itself, business partners, Paragon Lending, FLISP, Itala. There's government funding, CIFA, Gauteng Enterprise Propeller, NIDA, which is the National Youth Development Agency, Department of Trade and Industry, Gauteng Provincial Partnership Fund, the National Housing Finance Fund, National Empowerment Fund, Industrial Corporation, and all the banks, Fed Group, and so on. All these links to raise capital. The most exciting one that is coming is this one here, our crowdfunding platform. If you want to raise capital for your business and you want to do it through a crowd where you want to attract a whole range of people to invest in your property, that is where you go. You load your property opportunity there, and you then raise capital through this investment portal. We have a whole bunch of investors who are looking forward to the thing opening up. And once we open it up, a whole bunch of investors will flood to it, and you will be able to raise capital for your property investment opportunity. Then on top of that, all this financing stuff we're doing, you also have investment portals. So there's Property Pick, there's MyRoof, there's private property, where you can find deals. There's Support, Lightstone, TPN, McRoberts Attorneys. They've got an SME portal that will help you with legal documentation. Lightstone, you'll get a discounted registration with Lightstone and with TPN, and massively discounted registration with the SME portal with all your legal stuff and advice. Firefly, where you do all your calculations. NHBRC, where you register when you're a developer. Bidprop, to raise capital for your thing. My Bond Fitness, Rent to Buy, FLISP, and a whole host of other things. There's architects, attorneys, accountants, auditors, tax consultants, financial institutions, property managers, quantity surveyors. There's just so much that we have packed into our property portal for anybody who wants to raise capital, who needs support, who needs advice, who needs somebody to consult with, a mentor. It's all in this one platform. Then on top of that, if you're an Ekasi member and you've stated that you're an Ekasi member, you will also be able to access your Ekasi platform directly through our platform, so that you don't have to go onto your tablet, your computer, or your phone or whatever. You'll be able to access it directly from your tablet. On top of the tablet, you also get 10 gigs of MTN data every month for 3 years. All of this for 300 Rand a month. That's it. 300 bucks a month for access to all of that I've just told you. And we're not charging you more if you come via Ekasi. I prefer for you to come via Ekasi, because then you also have access to the Ekasi platform, which nobody else will get. So if somebody buys the tablet directly from EDPF, they will not get access to the Ekasi platform. Only you that are members of Ekasi will get access to that side. But all of that you'll get 300 bucks a month. You'll get the tablet. You'll get access to the platform. You'll get access to Ekasi's platform. You'll get 10 gigabits of data, MTN data per month. for 3 years. And then if you want to, you can extend after the 3 years, because by that time we'll have a whole range of new things that we're going to add in, and you'll get a new tablet in year 4. But that's up to you to decide if you want to continue. Once you're registered, you pay 300 Rand a month and you get all of that. If you bought a tablet from MTN or Vodacom or Cell C or anybody, if you buy a tablet and you get 10 gigs of data per month, you will pay 469 Rand or more. 469 Rand or more, just for the tablet and the 10 gigs of data. We are offering you the tablet, 10 gigs of data, and access to this entire portfolio for 300 bucks. How's that in Ndumiso?
And as they say, there is more.
Yeah.
If you come through Ekasi Properties, we'll refund you your first premium. So you get
that was unexpected. And Ndumiso, that's amazing.
Your first premium for free. Okay, I'm not even going to start asking you questions, Nigel. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. There is the information about the basics of investing in property for first-time investors. That's what Nigel covered today. But most importantly, here is an opportunity to empower yourself, educate yourself. For the next 3 years, you've got access to all kinds of information that you can think of around property development and property investing. So there you have it. Please raise your hand and I will acknowledge you. Then you can ask your a question, anything you want to know about what Nigel talked about today.
I see there are some questions already. So let's answer those questions first, and then people can raise their hands and ask after we've answered these ones.
Which one? You mean one? Which one's on the chat?
Okay, so in the chat box, there's a couple of questions. Somebody said if I pay 300 Rand per month to get access to your portal and want a mentor, would I have to pay the mentor separately? Okay, so one of two things. On the platform, you have access to a mentor 1 hour per month for free. Okay, that's part of the platform. But if you're an Ekasi member, obviously you have a mentor within the Ekasi platform. So you don't have to come to us for additional mentorship. You go to Ndumiso and the Ekasi people. If you want more than that and you want a mentor from EDPF, obviously, yes, that's additional. Then you're going to have to pay extra for that mentor. But I don't think it's going to be necessary, because with the platform and the mentorship that you get already, plus also there's something else that I didn't tell you, you also get access to our online webinars. Every month we're going to host a webinar where we're going to talk about a particular topic. So that's another thing that you're going to get for free. But if you're an Ekasi member, you will obviously have mentorship through Ekasi anyway. But like I said, if you do want to have extra sessions, then yes, you'll have to then engage with our mentors, who are all independent mentors. They don't work for EDPF. So you'll engage with them and you'll pay them separately, got nothing to do with EDPF. Okay. Can we use the tablet as a family, or is it only for the member? Look, I got no problem. If you got 5 people in the family who want to learn, and you are and you've bought a tablet, I got no problem with you sharing the tablet amongst each other. I mean, I've got no control over that at the end of the day, because if you give the tablet to somebody and they have your login, then they get into the tablet. It's why I sell the tablet to you. You can do with it what you like. But in terms of the Ekasi platform, obviously, you've got to talk to Ndumiso about that. Will we get a recording? Ndumiso, are we recording the session?
Yes,
we are.
No, yes.
Yeah, we are. Okay, we are recording. Is the tablet the only way of accessing the EDPF platform? I already have an iPad. Can I use my? Oh, no, you can't. Because the platform is actually going to be on the tablet itself. And I'm not, the platform isn't compatible with any other tablet. We did that deliberately, so that you can get access specifically to these things that we are giving you, and that you can get the 10 gigabits of data per month, and you get the tablet and the platform and all that other stuff. We've made it specifically geared towards this platform, this tablet. You can't use any other tablet. You can't use your computer. You can't use your phone to access this particular platform. And you won't be able to download the platform from any of the what do you call it? Google Play, from the iPhone store. You won't be able to download it. It's not going to be accessible to anybody other than those that come through the EDPF Academy or one of our affiliates like Ekasi. How do we register? You register with Ekasi. So you register in Ndumiso. Once you register with him, he will send me the list of all of your registrations with your address and your Ekasi registration number. We will then load all of that in the back end. We will send you your tablet. And once you get your tablet, you log in, you fill in that registration form like I showed you. Once only, you'll never have to see that page again. Put in your Ekasi registration number there, and then you'll get access to the platform. Okay. Can Ndumiso please share the link to register on the group? I am wasting no time. Okay. Okay, so Ndumiso, you need to then obviously give people access. No, just be aware though that we are not, the tablets are only going to be available from January. We're registering now, getting all the people connected, but you're only going to register, you're only getting your tablet in January. And as Ndumiso so very graciously offered now, your first month's going to be free. So the whole of January, you won't have to pay. It's only from February onwards then that you're going to have to pay. Okay, I'm in Ndumiso Touch. Let's go. We have been waiting for this. January is tomorrow. yeah, I wish I could actually release it already, but I can't. We're still doing a couple of tweaking in the back end. We had a big meeting with MTN yesterday in terms of updates, because we didn't want to have you to have to go to a site to go and do updates and stuff. The beauty about how we're structuring it is, unlike your phone or your tablet where you have to go to Google Play or to your iPhone store to go and do your updates, we are gonna, it's hard coded. So the minute you switch your laptop, your tablet on, the new version, if we have a new version, it will already be on your tablet. So you don't have to waste time going to do updates. It will update automatically the minute you switch your phone, your tablet on. It will say there's an update button. You press the update button and it will immediately update. Okay. But like I said, January, unfortunately, be patient with us. Let's get everybody registered, and then in January you'll have your tablet. Can you pay the fee on annual basis instead of monthly? If you wish to do that, you can. That's up between you and Ekasi, but then it's going to have to be an upfront payment, not a end of year payment, because we can't give you the tablet until you've either signed a debit order or you've paid upfront. So, you know, whatever relationship you have with Ekasi, whether it's a debit order, whether you pay via EFT or you pay annually, whatever your story is with Ekasi, that's the relationship that you have with them. Because I'm not going to bill you. I'm billing Ekasi, one invoice, that's it. He's got a relationship with you, Ndumiso has a relationship with you. You're a member of his organization. I will then bill him, he bills you. That's how we're going to work, just to be completely transparent. I don't want you to think anything funny is going on. I'm billing Ndumiso and Ekasi. He's got a relationship with you. You're a member of his organization, not mine. So you then affiliated through Ekasi to EDPF. Okay, that's it in terms of the chat. Are there any other questions? Put up your hand and you can, Ndumiso will unmute you and you can talk.
Malichama? You can unmute and yes, yeah.
Okay, yeah, let me see if I can do the video as well. Hi everyone. I hope everyone is good. They should be good by now, because that seminar was just out of this world. So yeah, first of all, I'd like to say thank you. I've attended a couple of seminars that cost me tons of money, but they didn't give me as good detailed information as much as this one had. I feel that it was very easy to understand. It was broken down very nicely as well. So I'm really grateful for that. And the package that comes with it, like, it's good. So thank you, Nigel and Dumiso, for this. So I have a couple of proposals and a couple of questions to ask. So the first proposal is, you know, when Nigel was outlining the issue in terms of pension funds, comparing pension funds to the returns that come with investments. So it would have been really nice to have like a slide that really shows the differences in terms of the numbers. You know, as an accountant, I want to see the figures, and it would have been easier to follow with regards to that part. And then I think also another thing that would make it easier, because I had a lot of questions, as you were saying, there are other seminars coming up in the next couple of weeks. So maybe if we can have an outline of what the seminars are going to be about, so that we don't, you know, ask questions that are still going to be outlined in the upcoming seminar. So that would actually be great. Yeah, because I'm already like asking in terms of maintenance, what it takes to maintain a property, be it student accommodation, because he did say that, you know, if you don't manage your property very well, you can end up incurring very high costs and all those different things. So yeah, that's one thing that I also wanted to outline. So yeah, I think most of my questions would be answered throughout the seminar. Just outlining what the topics will be should really be good. And yeah, share the link. We are ready to join.
Okay, so can I just quickly interrupt so I don't forget? In terms of the pension funds versus property, what I'll do, I will actually do something like that for you this week. I am under huge pressure because we're having a golf day on Friday. I'm stupid enough to run 2 golf days in 2 cities over 6 days, which is insane. So I'm under a bit of pressure, but I will try and put a slide together for the next seminar on Saturday next week.
Awesome.
That will then compare pension funds, retirement annuities, and property over the last, say, 10 years. And then in terms of the outline, I have sent Ndumiso the full PowerPoint presentation. So Ndumiso, if you want to maybe just share the outline, obviously not the whole PowerPoint, but just the outline with everybody. Okay, is there anything else?
Yeah, just for clarity, Ndumiso, are we members already by being part of the group, or must we pay something somewhere? Like, can we already join? Or...
No, you can join. I don't want, at this point in time, I don't want to do the membership thing. I've had lots of people that were suggesting that I must attend Ekasi or this workshop must be a membership based. I don't want that, because I want you to, if people are members, they pay the money and then they don't really attend to education. So that's why I prefer this weekly or 4 weekly series rather than to have one annual membership, because then people pay the money and then they forget about their education. We are about empowerment education here and not necessarily membership. So, but there's no extra cost, like Nigel has said. You just pay the 300 rands a month and then you go.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I don't know how he's going to fund that first free premium for you, but okay. Okay, I see there are 2 more questions that's come up. Hi, Nigel, you spoke about health and safety. Can you please clarify? Okay. One of the biggest things that, and I'm going to talk about it later, but let's just quickly touch on it. One of the biggest issues in property is health and safety. As a landlord, you need to be very, very careful about health and safety, occupational health and safety within your property. As a landlord, you have certain responsibilities according to the law, the OHS Act, the Occupational Health and Safety Act. That act is quite onerous on the owner. So let me give you an example. A couple of years ago, somebody died in one of our properties. The guy got drunk. He was at the Spur on the top floor. It was a 4-story retail center. And he got drunk at the Spur. How you could get drunk at the Spur, the Lord alone knows. But he got drunk at the Spur. And then he thought he'd be clever and slide down the balustrade. And then he fell 4 floors and cracked his skull and died on the way to the hospital. Now, as an owner of a building, you need to make sure that your building is safe. You need to make sure that all the signage from a health and safety perspective, like your exit signs, your be careful. So here, for example, we've got a step going onto the training platform. There are signs there that says mind the step. If you fall off the step, that's your problem, because we've put a sign there that says mind the step. There are exit signs, there's emergency signs, there's signs that show the, what do you call it, those big red bottles that you can kill fires with, the fire hydrants. That all is included in the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Now, if you do not annually have an occupational health and safety certificate issued, and something happens, then not only are you going to be held accountable for whatever happened, number one. Number two, the insurance policy won't pay out, because you're a landowner now, you're an investor in property. So if you do not have an occupational health and safety certificate that says your property was safe, and then something happens, the insurance company will not pay out. Most people don't know this. I've been on boards of companies where the property values are billions of rands. And I talk about occupational health and safety, and the owner or the shareholders and the directors don't actually know their responsibilities. So part of the course is occupational health and safety. We teach you as a property owner what you need to know and what you need to do in order to make your property safe. So that if anything happens, number one, that you are not then held responsible. And number two, that if anything happens, that the insurance will actually pay out. So with a story now with this guy that slid down the balustrade, fell, cracked his head, the company was not held responsible because we put all the safety protocols in place. He got drunk, he did something stupid, and he died on the way to hospital. And therefore, we were not held responsible because it was not our fault that he did something stupid and then died. If, however, we did not put all the protocols in place, we did not have the signage in place, his family could have sued us. The worst thing that can happen, somebody dies, and the directors or the CEO of the company can actually go to prison for manslaughter, what is the equivalent of manslaughter in South Africa. I'm thinking American law now, but what's the equivalent of manslaughter? I think it's second-degree murder or something. You can actually go to prison for that because you did not put in the correct protocols to make sure that your property is safe.
The glaring presentation. This is superior information